Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth before this congressional inquiry? So help you God. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. The Honorable Vice Chair Johnny Pimentel. Excuse me, Mr. Chair. Ano po yun?
Can I request two anchor to sit besides?
Diyan na po sila.
So we can.
Okay lang ho. Diyan na ho sila para ho, kasi may mga nakaupo dyan yata. Yes, the Honorable Pimentel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We would like to thank Ka Eric and Yusek Loren for answering our request to attend this hearing. Alam naman po ninyo siguro bakit na we are conducting this inquiry. It is with regards to your program wherein you allege na gumastos po ang Kongreso ng 1.8 billion pesos sa traveling expenses. Now, we're also here to determine whether SMNI is liable with regards to the violation of Section 4 of their franchise, disseminating unverified news. Ngayon, tinanong po natin, Mr. Chair, kanina sa mga legal counsel ng SMNI regarding this program at saka yung mga statements ng dalawang anchor persons, but unfortunately, they were not in a position to answer our questions. So, nandito na po yung dalawang anchor person. Tanungin ko po kayo, sino po yung nagsabi na merong 1.8 billion pesos na ginastos ang Kongreso para sa traveling expenses, Mr. Chair?
May I request the honorable committee members and the chairman to allow me to answer about the question. Ako po yung nagsabi sa forma ng pagtatanong mula po sa dalawang pinanggalingang impormasyon na pumasok po sa amin, particularly sa akin. And hindi po yung buong Kongreso ang tinutumbok ng pagtatanong na yon, kung hindi ang Office of the Speaker ni Speaker Martin Romualdez. So to give context to that, in-interview po namin si former Presidential Anti-Corruption Commission Chairperson Greco Belica tungkol po sa 1.1 billion na allegation sa travel expenses ni Secretary Loizaga ng DNR. Live via Zoom siya. And then pumasok po yung unang impormasyon. Yung isang impormasyon ay unlisted number sa cellphone ko. Yung isa po ay kilala ko na source. At dati ko na po siyang nakakausap nung ako po ay nasa National Operations Command ng NPA. So matagal ko na siyang kilala at nagbibigay siya ng mga impormasyon noon nung ako sa aktibo pa sa NPA. So nagtutugma yung kanilang pagtatanong. Ka Eric kindly ask the resource persons, former Secretary Greco Belica, kung totoo ba na may 1.8 billion na umabot na expenses si Speaker Martin Romualdez from the travel. So ako po yung unang nagbungad niyan habang ini-interview namin si Secretary Greco Belica. At ang source ko po, ang isa ay unlisted number sa text message, pero tumugma po doon sa isang source na kilala ko. And yun po ang dahilan kung bakit kami nagbungad noon without any intent of malice or imputing any sign of disrespect to the Speaker of the House, because it is we presume it is part of our editorial authority and policy as well to open questions pertaining to public interest issues. And sinabi namin na sana magpaliwanag ito si Speaker Martin Romualdez or ang House of Representatives as a matter of our obligation under the editorial authority provided by SMNI sa mga anchors.
Mr. Chair, Eric, when you delivered your statement, you presumed that your source was correct. Kayo po ba ay naniniwala na may 1.8 billion pesos na ginastos ang Kongreso para sa travel expenses?
Your Honor, kung naniniwala pa ako outright, hindi ibig sabihin affirmative ka agad ang posisyon ko. Yung tono po ng pag-deliver sa buong konteksto ng programa ay pagtatanong, clarification, because we want to clarify matters of public interest that are so serious, like the information na ibinahagi po sa amin. So wala po kaming conclusion doon.
Alam, Mr. Chair, may we know sino po ang source ninyo?
May I request, Your Honor, to refer to the legal advice of the legal team from the SMNI.
I don't think, Mr. Chair, I have to refer to the legal counsel. Kayo po ang tinatanong ko, Ka Eric. Sino po ba ang source ninyo? Remember that you're under oath.
Yes.
And under our house rules, if you cannot answer my question truthfully, we can cite you for contempt and we can detain you. So again, let me ask you again, Mr. Chair, sino po bang source ninyo?
Again, may I request Your Honor to be guided properly on my legal rights and on my legal basis and foundation to appropriately answer the question of the Honorable Congressman so that I will be protected also of my constitutional and legal rights before I give the answer to a very sensitive request from the Honorable Congressman.
Mr. Chair, may I,
Yeah, the Honorable Franz Castro.
kasi Mr. Chair, yung ating dalawang lawyer dito, they are corporate lawyers and they are not lawyer of individual anchor. So yun po ang sabi nila.
Alam
So-
po ninyo, opo, bago po kayo dumating, kaklaruhin ko na po yung sabi ni Congressman, ni Pong Castro. Kanina po, tinatanong po namin yung kayo. Ang sagot ko nila, hindi kami diyan dito para depensahan ang mga anchor namin. Andito kami for SMNI. Ergo, wala po silang sinasabi na wala silang otoridad na depensahan kayo. That's why, conversely, now that we're asking you, and they already manifested under oath that they cannot, they're not here to defend you or to even assist you. Therefore, we're asking, and we will have to be very clear that the question of the Honorable Pimentel should be answered directly by you.
Mr. Chair.
Kasi po, pinag-usapan po natin klaro naman ho kayo kanina, 3 beses kami nagtanong sa inyo
Yes,
Diba,
Mr. Chair.
3 beses mo kasi hanapin natin sa transcript, andyan yan.
Yes, yes.
Hindi ko kami nandito para depensa ng mga anchor namin. Katunayan, may disclaimer nga kami dyan Kung ano sabihin nila, wala kaming pakialam. Hindi yung sasabi nyo kanina
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Diba? Oh,
That's our answer, Mr.
that's right.
Chair.
Now that we've said that,
Can
we cannot entertain that request because you manifested that earlier.
but for purposes of due
Mr. Chair. Again,
Donald
ulitin
Bravo.
ko, malapit na akong uminit ang ulo. I will move to cite you in contempt for not obeying our rules.
again, sorry for that, Mr. Chair.
Kami nga tahimik na tahimik dito. Inaantay namin yung permission ng chairman.
Oh,
Ikaw naman, resource person dito. Daldal ka ng daldal.
thank you, the Honorable.
I'd like to apologize
Ako.
for that, Mr. Chair.
Yes. So now, please answer the question of the Honorable Pimentel.
Mr. Chair, again, may I ask Ka-Eric, sino po bang source ninyo dito sa sinasabi ninyong gumastos ang Kongreso ng 1.8 billion pesos para sa traveling expenses?
Your Honor, if I may respectfully be allowed to request the honorable body, this committee, since the question, I think, borders to my right about the protection of my source, as well as to my constitutional right, may I humbly request the committee, are my constitutional rights suspended in this committee hearing? Because it is my right, I believe, to have a legal advice on sensitive matters that require for me to be protected by my constitutional right. So, without offense meant to the honorable members of this committee, may I be allowed to exercise the constitutional right for me to have a counsel to properly advise me on legally sensitive question, which I believe may deem into the encroachment of my fundamental constitutional guarantee of rights in the Constitution.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, the Honorable Akop is recognized.
we as a body or individually are not suppressing the rights of Mr. Celis. We're just asking him a question. If he wants to answer so, he answers. If not, he tells us the reason why he will not be able to answer. Di po ba? Hindi naman namin sinusuppress yung right mo rito eh. We're not. We're just asking you a question. Now, if you prefer to answer it, do so. If not, then you say so, why not? Thank you, Mr. Chair.
And also, it's not infringing, it is not an incriminatory, di ba? It's not incriminatory, therefore you cannot cite the right to self-incrimination.
Mr. Chair, aside from this and more than that, we are not conducting hearing under a court of law. we're conducting hearing in Congress. And I'm not very sure if you are entitled to a legal counsel. Hindi naman to kaso itong inaatupag natin. This is an inquiry in aid of legislation. And it's a simple question because what we are trying to determine here, Mr. Chair, ikaw yung sinabi ho ninyo, totoo ba yun o hindi? Based on the privileged speech of Congressman J.J. J.J. Suarez, we would like to know, kasi baka naman tainted itong source mo, whether this was politically motivated. In fact, hindi ko nga alam kung bakit na pinalabas yung 1.8 billion pesos yung traveling expenses ni Speaker, when in fact, for your enlightenment, Yusek Loren and Ka Eric, Mr. Chair, andito po yung finance officer natin. Nandito po din kanina si Secretary General Velasco para madinigo lang ninyo to Mr. Bobby Maling. Magkano ang ginastos ng Kongreso at ni Speaker for this year para sa traveling expenses? Para madinig po ni Ka Eric at saka ni Lorraine.
With your permission, Mr. Chair, for the Office of the Speaker, the total expenses for the travel is 4.3 million, more or less, Mr. Chair. And for the other expenses, for the other official expenses, it's 35.2 million, Mr.
Okay. Mr. Chair,
Mr. Chair.
it is very clear po, no, Ka Eric and Lorraine. Ang ginastos lang po ni Speaker Romualdez was 4.3 million pesos from January to October. Ang Kongreso was 35 million. So ang kabuuan po ng gastos ng Kongreso, including yung travel ni Speaker, was only 39 million pesos. Pero yung sa show ninyo, ang sinabi nyo kay Speaker lang ang binanggit ninyo, hindi yung sa Kongreso. So actually, it was only 4.3 million pesos. Napakalayo naman po doon sa sinabi nyo na 1.8 billion pesos. Hindi po kaya na ginagamit ninyo ang SMNI for a smear campaign? Because in the recent months, ilang mga shows, ilang mga programa ng SMNI was directed to malign, to attack Congress as an institution. Kaya po tanong ko, baka naman yung programa ninyo, ginagamit na rin yan para atakihin ang Kongreso, kaya we need to know yung source ninyo. Because if not, baka naman gawa-gawa lang ninyo na yung sinasabi nyong source, wala naman kayong source. Kaya ang gusto naming malaman kung ito ba ay gagawa-gawa ninyo or according to you, there's a source. Because we want also to know whether SMNI is liable for the violation of Section 4 of your franchise. Sinasabi kanina ni Attorney Tolentino, meron silang disclaimer. But on the other hand, there is a conflict. But on the other hand, may disclaimer nga sila na wala daw silang pakialam sa kung anong sabihin ng mga anchor persons. However, he said that you are talents of SMNI paid by SMNI. So meaning you're under control of SMNI. So that disclaimer does not apply. Mag-a-apply lang siguro yung disclaimer if you're a black timer. But according to SMNI officials, you are talents of SMNI. So directly, you are under their management and supervision. Kaya dapat, Mr. Chair, malaman natin yung source. O baka naman guni-guni lang ni Ka Eric yung source na yun. You have two sources, you said. Yung unang source, taga saan ba? Or from where? From media ba? From Congress?
Mr. Chair, may I please say something first, Mr. Chair? Could I?
The question is directed to Ka Eric. So, can you please reply?
Yes,
Ka
Mr. Chair, I'm directing the question to Ka Eric because he said earlier, I asked both of them, sabi niya siya nagsalita nung sa 1.8 billion pesos. Gusto natin ma-certain, sinasabi niya may dalawang source siya. Saan nga nanggaling yung source, Mr. Chair? Until now, napakasimpleng tanong po ito, this is not self-incriminating because we are not under the court of law. This is only an inquiry in aid of legislation. Kung natatakot po kayong kakasuhan, ano naman ikakaso sa inyo? Isasabihin lang naman ninyong source. Unless sabi ko nga, wala talagang source.
May I be allowed to reply to the question, Mr. Chairman, please, and to the Honorable Congressman. I believe in the practice of journalism, the protection of the integrity and the trust and confidence of the source in the stories or in the information gathered related to stories are sacred. They are like contracts. If not legally, as a contract, sacred po yun para sa mga journalists. Nandito yung mga media. I know how they also feel kapag pinilit sila na ang source nila ilabas nila doon sa mga sensitibong impormasyon. So yun po ang aking inaalala. Dahil ang source ko na ito, Congressman Pimentel, sir, Your Honor, Mr. Chairman, matagal ko na siyang source nung nasa NPA pa ako. At wala po akong pag-aalangan na ang kanyang mga impormasyon na ibinibigay ay tumutugma doon sa mga impormasyon na nakukuha ko when I was still part of the National Intelligence Unit of the NPA National Operations Command. So kilala ko siya. The other source, sinabi ko na po, Your Honors, ito po ay unlisted number. Dinilit ko siya, pero nagulat lang ko na tumugma sa isang source na kilala ko. And I had a meeting with him. May pinakita siya, ayun tuloy, na-reveal ang gender. Nalalaki siya. I had a meeting with the source at may pinakita sa mga documents. Hindi kaagad kami nag-conclude because I have to seek audience and guidance from the editorial authority of SMNI. But the question was posed immediately because the source texted us during the interview live kay former Secretary Greco Bellica. So nang kinausap ko siya, sabi ko we need the documents to sustain the discussion. So hindi po ito smear campaign or isang kampanyang orchestrated para sumira sa imahin at integridad ng House of Representatives. I believe, sako po ito ng tamang paglulunsad ng press freedom at gawaing pang journalist, yung ginagawa namin. Dahil kami po ay naniniwala na public interest issue na magkaroon ng pagpapaliwanag sa pamamagitan po ng paghahayag na ito, kagaya ng we are now very enlightened. Thank you so much, Your Honors, na sinabi po dito na less than 5 million pala yung expenses ni Speaker Martin Romualdez at yung buong House of Representatives ay nasa 35 million lang. So kung inilahad namin ito as a series of special report, we need vetting and verification dun sa source. Hindi ko po siya pwedeng ma-reveal because pag na-reveal siya, there were a lot of information na naibigay niya noon sa amin nung nasa NPA ako na pinagkatiwala niya sa akin dahil kami ay may mabuting relasyon tungkol sa secrecy of information. So kaya po ako humihingi ng pag-unawa ng body na ito na kapag ito po siya ay ma-reveal, eh baka maraming makakalkal na mga impormasyon na hindi na
Mr.
kailangan
Chair,
po.
Sinasabi kanina ni Ka-Eric na tumutugma. Kanina pa he's right, saying the word how many times yung tumutugma. Sa tingin ba ninyo tumutugma yung 1.8 billion pesos dun sa 4.3 million pesos na it is on record, it is a public document, we can release that to the public? Napakalayo naman. Ba't ka magsasabi na tumutugma? Eh wala namang pagtutugma yung 1.8 billion pesos to 4.3. It's a simple arithmetic. Napakalayo naman po. And then you said earlier, Mr. Chair, si Ka-Eric, sabi niya na binibet yung source. In this case, very clear, you did not bet your source. Paano naman yung sasabi mong 1.8 to ano? Kung nagtanong lang kayo dito sa Kongreso, magkano eh mas lalong tutugma yung ano, pero yung sinasabi mo yun, walang pagtutugma yun. That's way 1.8 billion pesos compared to 4.3 million pesos.
Your Honor, if I may...
Tsaka alam ko, Mr. Chair, kaya tinatanong namin ang source mo, baka naman politically motivated yan. Baka naman yung source mo ay isang politiko na gusto lang manira. As you have said, kailangan i-bet, but very clear, it was not vetted yung source mo. Paano magiging 1.8 billion pesos ang 4.3 million pesos?
Sir, if I may...
Ato tatanong ko sa iyo, Mr. Chair, you are part of media. Hindi kaya nasunog ka doon sa impormasyon na binigay sa iyo?
Sir, may I reply?
Yes, you may now reply.
Thank you, sir. Baka na, with due respect kay Congressman Pimentel, hindi ko po sinasabi na tumutugma doon sa data na inirelease ng Finance Committee. Tumutugma yung source ko doon sa nag-text. Kahit i-review po natin yung record, naka-record po naman tayo lahat. Tumutugma, kaya ko binigyan ng pagkakataon na bigyan ng atensyon, Congressman Pimentel, sir, Your Honor. Tumutugma yung unang text doon sa ibinigay na information din ng source.
Yeah, I know, I understand yung Mr. Chair.
Hindi po yung
Sinasabi mo,
figures.
kino-compare mo yung unang source mo doon sa pangalawang source mo.
Oh.
Sinasabing pareho,
Yun.
which is pareho silang mali.
Yes,
Hindi
now,
ba?
if
Ngayon,
that's the
Mr.
data,
Chair, tanong ko sa iyo, aminin mo ba na mali yung impormasyon mo?
ngayon po.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes, that's why we need vetting. Kaya nga hindi namin inilabas as a special report or news. It was a
Anyway,
commentary
Mr. Chair,
question Ito sa comment.
Sa very clear, it is on record, it is on the minutes, inaamin po ninyo na nagkamali kayo ng information ninyo dahil sa nasabi nyo 1.8 pero 4.3 lang. Now, since nagkamali kayo, are you willing to recant your statements and apologize to Congress?
If that will heal the wound of the degree of an amount of insult that was forwarded to Congress, kung ganun pong epekto niyan, wala pong problema sa akin personally yon. Because trabaho po namin na kilalanin ang pagkakamali kung may pagkakamali, pero trabaho din po namin ang magtanong kung may dapat itanong. Ang pagpapaliwanag po sa mga datos na ito ay isang oportunidad na nanggaling doon sa pagtatanong. And we are very much willing to admit that indeed the source was wrong. In this committee hearing, we are very appreciative of the guidance provided by us by the data. Sa tanong ni Honorable Congressman Pimentel, am I ready to personally apologize to Speaker Martin Romualdez and to the House of Representatives for the effect of insult created by that kind of questioning, which is now being given a proper enlightenment? Yes, sir. And my answer is on the affirmative, Congressman Pimentel.
Mr. Chair, Eric, let me very clear. The matter that we are discussing here is not a matter of insult. What we are discussing or what we are deliberating is what is the truth. Yung po hindi naman ibig sabihin na we are conducting an inquiry dahil na-insultong Kongreso, na-insultong institution. We are conducting this inquiry kasi lumalabas na mali yung balita na pinalabas ninyo. Yun lang po naman ang gusto naming matuwid. Kung mali yun, you accept the fact na nagkamali po kayo. Because hindi lang ito yung cases na nangyari sa SMNI. Earlier, wala pa po kayo. Si Attorney Domingo has already stated that there have been many cases that have been filed against SMNI. Sa pang-aapi nga, sa mga individual. So, it seems that SMNI is going to that direction where it is being used, the franchise is being used to attack individuals. Yun, dapat hindi naman yun ang mandato ninyo. It is very clear in Section 4 that you should not disseminate fake news or unverified reports. And then, kanina nga, sinabi ni Attorney Tolentino that yes, there are many cases but they have not been found guilty. It's not a matter of being convicted, but rather, although it's true, wala pa hong guilty verdict yung mga kaso, but the fact remains that there have been so many cases filed against SMNI simply means that meron ho kayong mga violations. Simply means na marami na kayong inatake kasi kung wala, edi wala sanang kaso. Iba ho yung matter ng being found guilty. But the fact still remains na kaya nga kayo pinailan ng kaso as what Attorney Domingo has said because of your vicious attacks on individuals. And ngayon, inaatake na naman yung Kongreso, which has been done before, hanggang kailan kayo magtitigil? Sana naman po, this should just be a reminder to the anchor persons na bago kayo magpalabas ng mga reports ninyo, sabi mo nga, kailangan i-vet this time around, hindi nyo na-vet ng insakto because reputations of individuals and political leaders are at stake. So sana naman po, wag na nyo gamitin yung programa ninyo para sa pag-atake ng mga individual. But rather, sabi nga ninyo, yung programa nyo, laban para sa bayan. Hindi na ho laban para sa bayan nyo, kundi pag-atake na sa mga individual. So yun lang po, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair,
Just po, klaro ka. Alam po ninyo, hindi naman ho kayo personal ang Kaya nga sinabi ko, wala naman pong Hindi po kayo personal ang aming ang rason kung bakit po tayo nandito. Ang talagang rason nito, at hindi naman po to press freedom. Ang dito, meron bang violation sa prangkisa? Yun ang to. Okay? Ito po ang punot dulo ng hearing na to. Okay? It's about, is there a violation of the franchise?
Mr. Chair,
Okay? Kaya po, nasa committee kayo ng legislative franchise. Okay.
Mr. Chair.
Yung katabi ho niya wanted to speak,
May I?
Ma'am
Yes, just
Ma'am Lorraine
very
Badoy,
briefly
you
lang
wanted
po,
to
sir.
speak.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
You have the floor, ma'am.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
I just want to respond to the Honorable Pimentel when he said that there was might be a smear campaign against Congress. And that's farthest from the truth po. Kasi me personally, my father was a congressman for a very long time. I was a very young girl when I ran the whole, dito ako tumatakbo, dito ako lumaki po sa Patbatasan when I lost my mother when I was very young. So this place is very dear to me, as well as the work of the people in Congress. So walang-wala po yan sa isip namin, lalo na sa SMNI. At saka po, buo yung tiwala namin sa institusyon. At yun yung siguro gusto kong mawala sa isip ninyo, na hindi po, walang katiting na katotohanan doon. Punong-puno kami ng respeto at admiration sa trabaho ng Kongreso. Alam namin yon. At yung pangbababoy na ginagawa sa Kongreso, aware po kami dyan. Aware na aware kami at kasama ninyo kami sa paglinis ng Kongreso. Yun ang adhikain ng SMNI. Kung kaya't ginagawa namin ito at kung kaya't ako'y nagpapasalamat sa napakalinaw na sagot na binigay nyo ngayon na 35 million lang pala at saka 4 million lang pala. So maliwanag na there are really people in our country who are out to destroy Congress. Alam na alam po namin yan, sir. Ay, hindi lang ang Kongreso, kundi ang buong bansa. Alam po namin yan. At sa SMNI, ang totoo po ito, hindi po pera ang motibasyon namin kung hindi pagmamahal sa bayan. Alam ko na halos non-profit na yan. Wala pong gustong kumuha ng mga, lalo na sa laban kasi it's not a sexy topic. It's anti-CPP, NPA, NDF. And that is our dream, to finally rid of our country of those communist terrorists in our country, no? Na nagnakaw ng mga anak namin. So, dumudulog kami sa inyo na isipin niyo naman na kami ang partners ninyo dito kasi yun po ang katotohanan. Yun lang po, sir.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair.
The Honorable Suarez is recognized.
I just want to go back to Ka Eric. So Ka Eric, yung source po ninyo, kanina binanggit nyo isang
Wi-Fi mo.
unverified number at isang dating source nyo sa CPP-NPA. Sino po siya?
With due respect to Honorable Suarez, sir, I refuse to answer because I think it is my right to protect my source as a journalist. And since it is very clear that the source failed to authenticate and validate the information provided for us as per revelation in Congress right now, Congressman Suarez, Mr. Chairman, sir. So it means that it will be between us and the source already to talk. And I do not see any need to reveal him because he had helped a lot as a source in my previous operations.
And the other source you mentioned is an unverified number.
Yes, sir.
Unlisted.
Unlisted.
Do you still have the text active?
No, I'm trying to retrieve. That's why I was trying to check the message box. Wala na po, sir. Hindi ko siya na-save na. And
So what you're saying is one source is an unverified number and the other source is
a previous source.
your previous kasamahan mo sa CPP-NPA.
Sorry, Your Honor. Hindi siya CPP, NPA, NDF, pero nakakatrabaho po niya ang unit namin sa National Intelligence ng NPA.
At siya po ay isang pribadong mamamayan.
Opo. Right now, I will wait for the advice of the council to reveal kasi matitrace siya, sir. Pag sinabi ko kung saan siya ngayon.
Well, look, we need to, if you're gonna be secretive about divulging information, it puts question on the validity of your statements. Because now you're hiding the truth by, all sorts of layers and layers and layers of reasons. It's just a valid question. Who is your source?
Yeah.
Because if your source, excuse me, ma'am, excuse me.
Sino po kayo? Yeah, but we need to take your oath. So I suggest that you,
Yeah, I'm sorry.
yeah, thank you.
Can we be informed who that lady in brown is, Mr. Chair?
Ano po pangalan? Ana. Mapakikuha lang yung pangalan niya. Thank you. Tsaka anong posisyon niya.
Kasi if she wants to be recognized, she can get a seat and speak.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
Okay, anyway, so Eric, going back. So, yung source po ninyo, isang taong hindi nyo kilala kasi unverified yung number. Tapos yung isa dati yung kasamahan at pinaghuhugutan ng impormasyon.
That is correct, Your Honor.
Ang lalaking ito, sinabi nyo lang na lalaki.
May him.
Oo, nakita di umano kayo at may dokumento pinakita. Yung dokumentong yun, nasa na po yun?
Nasa kanya po.
Nasa kanya.
Kasi sana magkakaroon pa ng next meeting. The meeting was already overtaken by events dahil po sa investigation na ito.
Saan po kayo nagkita?
In a private place po. Malapit lang po sa area kung saan din po nakatira siya ngayon.
Malapit lang po sa area kung saan
Nasa Maynila lang siya po, sir, ngayon.
Okay. No, I mean, you can give it, you have to give more validity to your statements. I mean, you were so quick to mention 1.8 billion, but now when we're talking about specifics, now you're starting to become, for some reason, evasive. So, my question is, when did you see your source?
Mr. Chairman and Honorable Suarez, sir, kahapon lang.
Kahapon kayo nakita.
Because he texted the message during the time na ini-interview namin si former Secretary Greco Belica.
So kahapon kayo nakita. Kahapon is Wednesday, right?
Wednesday.
Kaso lang Tuesday ako nag-deliver ng point of personal and collective privilege. Monday, nyo pinalabas yung show.
Tama po.
Tapos kahapon lang kayo nagkita.
Kasi kahapon na siya available. He came from the province during a travel.
Okay, so kailan naiabot sa iyo yung dokumento na sinabi mong pinagbasihan mo ng 1.8 billion?
Ipinakita niya lang po, maraming mga documents yun. Hindi
Kailan
lang po.
yun? Kailan?
Kahapon.
Hindi ko maintindihan. You said on Monday night, was that a live broadcast or a tape?
Live broadcast.
It was live broadcast where you stated that the speaker spent 1.8 billion.
As a question, please, sir.
Yeah, no, it was a statement. We can debate later whether it's a statement, but okay. You mentioned 1.8 billion on Monday. What was the basis of the 1.8 billion? You said it came from two sources. One unverified number and one from your source that you don't want to mention.
Yes.
My question is, when did you meet and see the documents to give that statement that you issued on Monday?
The 1.8 billion, as a reference question po, itinext niya na. So sabi ko, do you have the document? Sabi niya, nasa out of town pa ako. Wednesday ako.
So itinext sa'yo nung Lunes.
Lunes. Kaya nga tinanong namin.
Okay. Di klaro na. So nakatanggap ka ng dalawang text.
Dalawang text.
Nung Lunes.
Yes, sir.
Ngayon, yung nagpadala sa'yo, nakilala mo na matagal, government employee ba siya?
I will only proceed to give details about the source when it is clarified by a legal competent advisor.
It's a yes or no?
I request to refuse the answer. To answer.
I'm sorry. Your seatmate just mentioned you're here to uphold the integrity and help the House uncover the truth. So let's uncover the truth. Is he or she a government employee?
May I request? There are lawyers in the room.
It's just a yes or no, Eric.
Because when I state kung saan siya connected at ano siya, it will really now go on to the question.
No, it's just a government employee or no? Yes or no?
Yes.
As a government employee.
Yes.
Okay. So now does the government employee work in Congress?
No further answer about that, sir.
No, it's yes or no. Does he work in Congress?
No, sir.
No. No. Okay. Because in your statement, you said, based on my source in Congress, gumastos si Speaker Martin Romualdez ng 1.8 billion pesos. Sinabi mo, based on my source from Congress. And you just said now that he is not an employee of Congress.
Lower house? No.
Huh?
Congress is two. Senate and lower house. Not from the lower house. Congress is composed of two houses. Lower house and Senate. So wala po sa House of Representatives.
So
Sen-
what you're saying is sa Senado,
Obviously.
'di ba? So kasi
Eh baka pa-imbestigahan din ako ng Senado dahil
hindi kasi ang sinabi mo doon, ang sinabi mo sa statement mo based on my source in Congress. And you just said na your source is not in Congress. Oops, Senado pala.
because I was thinking Congress
So-
is the lower house.
Yes.
But now I am very clarified that when you are
So okay,
going to be
now we're
particular,
starting
Senate.
to see a pattern, ka Eric, that when you issue statements, we need to go through a process of filtration and clarification before we can actually get to the real truth.
And that is a processor of proper discussion that requires interaction with the source, with the delivery
Which
of information.
unfortunately is not proper in media practice.
Well, I respect your opinion, sir.
Did you undergo a KBP seminar? And are you a verified member of the KBP, Eric?
Personally, sir, I am not a registered kapisanan ng broadcaster member, but I do not see it as a requirement
So-
for me to be a broadcaster.
Yeah, so therefore you did not undergo the seminar on the code of ethics.
But I read it
No. Okay.
and I understand how it is contented.
So, no.
Answer lang, yes or no?
Yeah, there was no seminar held about that question of the Honorable Suarez.
So you did not attend the seminar. You weren't given any verification from the KBP?
Personally, I was not given any
Because meron po
certification.
sa code of ethics na sinusunod. At doon po sa code of ethics na sinasabi nila, babasahin ko lang po Pagdating sa mga unconfirmed reports shall not be aired unless there is an immediate and urgent need for the public to know about them, such as when the public needs to be warned of the possibility of an imminent danger. When such reports are aired, it must be emphasized that they are unconfirmed. You did not mention that the figure you gave was unconfirmed.
Sir, may I respond, please? Your
Yes.
Honor, Mr. Chairman. 3 beses ko pong binalikan yung episode na binabanggit ni Honorable Suarez. We did not conclude, we did not insist that gospel truth yung information. What I said there is,
Oo.
we are going to verify from Congress, from the Office of Speaker Martin Romualdez, and we are calling out that kind of notice because we know that we need to follow up on the report and information. But because it was aired as a context reference to the interview of former Secretary Greco Belica pertaining to DNR expenses on travel, biglaan po siyang lumusot doon sa pag-uusap na yun.
So then there's responsibility on your part, ka Eric. Kasi kung may ganyang kalaking numero, at the very least, dapat sasabihin ninyo or dapat tinanong nyo muna yung House Secretary General. Ang laking number nun,
Yeah, 1.8 billion.
1.8 billion. At kung sino mang ordinaryong mamamayan ang makakarinig mula sa telebisyon na gumastos ang speaker ng 1.8 billion pesos, nakakapanira po ng puri yun. Kaso lang, you were blatant enough to come out on TV and say it straightforward. And the discussion was, and if I remember it right, sinabi mo, tapos sinabi po yata ni Yusek Badoy, how do you spend 1.8 billion pesos? That's such a huge amount. Siguro hindi na umuwi yan sa bahay. At tapos sinabi mo pa, dinagdagan mo, at base sa source ko, hindi lang 1.8 billion to. Kasi kung isasama mo ang entourage, aabot pa po to ng 2 bilyong piso.
I
So
admit to that.
Yes, that is not a question.
But the context should be factored in, sir, Your Honor.
No. That is not a question.
Of course, that is your valid observation. I will respect.
That is a clear statement. Because if you wanted to pose a question, you would have said, we have an unverified number, and this is not confirmed. And we want to seek clarification on this. And before we throw this number out, because it is so huge, we will first seek the guidance or the certification from the House of Representatives. Kaso lang hindi po eh. Nilabas nyo eh. Na ang tanong ko, KBP. KBP? Nandito po ba kayo? Ano
Yes.
po ang usual practice ninyo pag kayo po ay makakatanggap? Kunyari, kayo po, broadcaster. At napalagay po kayo sa posisyon ni Ka Eric. Meron po kayong isang source na talagang nagbibigay ng mga balita sa iyo. Tapos may isang number na nag-text sa inyo. Ano pong practice ang gagawin ng isang KBP member bago ilabas ang datos?
Verification, Your Honor, from another source
Verification from another source.
or from the party alleged to or being imputed on.
Okay. Or from the party being alleged.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Now my question is, following our discussion, did they follow those two steps?
My opinion is they did not, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. So going back, Mr. Chair, so I'll just reserve my other questions for the next round.
Very much, the Honorable J.J. Suarez. KBP. Hindi po siya nag-seminar sa inyo. Hindi po siya membro ng KBP. Tanong, hindi din siya dapat sumunod dun sa broadcaster. Is he bounded by the broadcaster's code? Or
Well, since he's not accredited by the KBP, there's no direct authority of KBP over him. However, the authority is over the network, who is bound to use only accredited members.
so you're now telling me that that is a violation of the rules of KBP.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Thank you. Da dapat ang personnel ay accredited.
All persons who go in there and the member station must be accredited by the
Is that clear with all franchisees,
all members of KBP.
all members of KBP? That's very clear.
That's a given rule, Your Honor.
And this has been there for quite some time, that rule,
Since the beginning of KBP 50
which
years
is when?
ago. 50 years ago, Your Honor.
50. Oh, thank you very much. Okay, the Honorable Romeo Acop is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Kanina pa po ako nakikinig sa mga tanong at sagot eh. And I would like to thank the Honorable Castro for giving me her slot. Kasi mula pa ako kanina umaga dito, Mr. Chair, dahil nag-hearing kami sa Committee on Transportation ng 9 o'clock. Now, going back to Madam Yusek Badoy, tama po ba yung pagkarinig ko na hindi po kayo, yung programa po ninyo ay hindi po programa ng paninira ng puri ng isang tao? Did I hear it right?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chair, yes, you heard it right.
Yeah. Meron po ba kayong YouTube account?
Ako po, sir. Mr.
Yes.
Chair, ako. Meron, Mr. Chair, pero hindi ko halos tinitignan.
Kasi sino ang nagpo-post nitong mga pinapadala sa akin? For example, Lorraine, Mariti, Badoy. SMNI is being silenced because of the current alignment of the speaker with the terrorist CPP, NPA, NDF in Congress. Our Facebook page has been taken down again. Our right to free expression is the bedrock of democracy. Pinadala rin po sa akin dito, pangalan nyo na rin po ang nandito, dated 18 November, no one, and I mean no one, wins a fight against Rodrigo Roa Duterte. I do not know what your basis there, anong klaseng laban ang sinasabi po ninyo. Least of all, a corrupt trapo oligarch who had the bad sense to draw the first blood and a lack of political sophistication to align with the highly despised terrorist front of the CPP, NPA, NDF, and the Kamatayan Bloc. Picture po ni Speaker nandito. Ang sumunod po ay 10 November. Nandito yung mukha ni Speaker, CPR-CPP ang nakalakay.
The Honorable Acop, please look at the screen, no? nasa screen po rin natin yung mga binabanggit po ni
Yeah.
Congressman Ako. Can you tap it?
Kaya, yun nga po yung gusto kong tanungin. Tapos,
Yan.
ito sa last, pinadala ko lang kasi ito.
Mhm.
Nakalagay dito, pangalan na naman ninyo, dated 10 November, the deadly combination that has stood in the way of our country's progress and that has created massive poverty and the death of countless Filipinos, the unprincipled, power-hungry, overly ambitious politician with no true love for country and blood-sucking communist terrorists. Nakalagay po dito, litrato po, magkayakap pa. Si Speaker Martin Romualdez at saka si
The next slide.
Mr.
Can we get
Chair,
the
is
next
that
slide?
a Facebook account?
YouTube.
I don't know.
I don't have a YouTube. I don't even have a Facebook account.
Well, we just...
Naantay ko lang po yung kwan.
Yeah. Okay.
Nakita nyo naman po ito, siguro. Kasi ang pangalan nyo po nandito, kaya nga tinatanong ko,
Kayo po ba to? I think the question of the...
are these your postings?
Where is it, Mr. Chair? I'm not so.
Here.
I have. There are a lot of fake accounts that use my name, Mr. Chair.
Ano?
Mr. Chair, marami pong naggagawa ng account ko pero fake.
Okay.
Ano po yan, Mr. Chair? Facebook po ba yan? Or YouTube?
Sa YouTube, sinabi ko
Twitter.
kanina.
Twitter?
These screenshots were sent to me.
YouTube is a video account po. Hindi po siya, photos.
Hindi siya.
So you're denying this?
No.
I can't see what it is, Mr. Chair.
Can we enlarge it? Pwede mo natin lakihan para makita kaya...
Facebook.
Pwede bang, ma'am? Pwede po lumapit po tayo. Makita po nyo. Lumapit na lang po kayo. Ito ba post nyo? Kaya nyo po ba to?
Yung
Twitter.
Kwan, magkayakap si Kwan.
Twitter.
Si France at saka
Hindi na ko. Nakayakap ko pa.
Mr. Chair, wala akong Facebook account.
So, hindi nyo po post yan.
Parang hindi siya, but do I share the same opinion? Is that the question po ba, Mr. Chair?
No, my question is, are you denying that this came from you? Because nandun ang pangalan nyo po eh. That is my
Sir,
question.
if you search me kasi sir
My
sa
question is answerable by yes or no. You can deny it or you can affirm it. Which is which?
if that's a Facebook account, it's not mine.
It's not yours.
It's not mine, sir.
Yes,
If it's
good.
Facebook.
Ayun lang po ang kailangan na
It was Twitter. Would it have been yours?
Yes. If it's
Twitter.
yes.
Twitter sa inyo.
Yes.
So, the content 2 weeks ago, November 10, November November 18, you do not remember that.
I'm not so active in social media anymore, Mr.
Papa.
Chair. Yeah.
But that could have been possibly yours if that's Twitter.
Yeah, most likely.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank
Yes,
you.
Mr. Chair.
Okay, that could have been hers. Most likely, Twitter. Looks like it's Twitter.
loud and clear, Mr. Chair. Deny naman yan sa kanya eh. Officially, on record. May I ask the representative of the kapisanan ng mga broadcaster na Filipinas? Did I hear you right that Mr. Celis is not a member of the kapisanan?
It's not accredited. It's not an accredited broadcaster.
What's the difference between the two?
The member is Suarasug Media Corporation, Your Honor. The
So-
members of KBB consist of networks.
Okay, so he is not accredited as an official member of the kapisanan ng mga broadcasters na Filipinas. Tama?
Yes, Your Honor, that's a way of putting it.
Yes. And did I hear it also right na ang membro ay yung network?
That's correct, Your Honor.
And therefore, if the network is a member of the kapisanan, it is bound to follow your code of conduct or code of ethics?
That's correct, Your Honor.
There. Now, and therefore, if we follow your logic, if the network is bound by the code of ethics or code of conduct of the kapisanan na ng broadcaster ng Pilipinas, then they should abide with the provisions of the code of conduct. Tama po?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes. Now, after hearing all the discussions, the questions and answers this afternoon, would you say that they have followed the provisions of your code of conduct?
Your Honor, I beg your indulgence, but in the context of what has been presented and of which I am informed in this hearing, the network is lacking in observance of the code of conduct, Your Honor.
We go to section 3, fairness and objectivity of your code. It says in paragraph 3A, news reports shall be fair, factual, and objective. I refer to the term factual. May I know your definition of what factual is?
Your Honor, is the question addressed to me?
Yeah.
The
You're
factual
still the
means-
one being asked. Floor,
Thank you, Your Honor.
ABB.
Factual means to say it is based on verified facts and information, incidents and information, data.
Could you please clarify the term unverified?
The unverified means to say that this information being given, the basis is not established.
Okay, thank you. Under section 4 of news sources, 4A, care must be taken in selecting news sources since the credibility of the news rests upon its sources. Tama po.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, under 4B, only news that can be attributed to a source shall be aired. When the source cannot be identified by name, the reason for this should be made clear in the news report. Did the anchors fulfill this?
Based on the discussions and the presentation this afternoon, the answer to that is no, Your Honor.
Yes. Uh-huh. And section 5, there had been unconfirmed reports. Pertaining to unconfirmed reports, this has been extensively asked and clarified. Tama po.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, may I know what is the liability of the network for violating your code of conduct or code of ethics?
Your Honor, it can range from fine and suspension or expulsion from KBP, Your Honor.
And how is this initiated? And what would be the protocol?
The protocol would be for a complaint to be filed against the network for violation of the provisions of the Code of Ethics, Your Honor.
Thank you. Now, are you aware of NTC Memorandum Circular number 01-03-2006?
I'm not familiar with the numbering, but I'm familiar with most NTC circulars, Your Honor. I'm not familiar with the number.
Yeah. The title of this is Program Standards for Radio and TV Broadcast and Cable TV Stations. This was issued by the National Telecommunications Commission, which you should know. And the pertinent provision na gusto kong malaman po ninyo is that wherefore, pursuant to the powers vested upon the NTC for the reference and guidance of radio and television broadcasting stations and cable TV stations, and for the information of the general public, the NTC hereby adopts the existing program standards of KBP as set forth in the KBP radio and television codes and in other relevant KBP circulars, including those contained in KBP Circular 06-016, dated 27 February 2006, and hereby reiterates and adopts all the provisions of Memorandum Circular number 11-12-85. All broadcast media and cable TV entities must conform to the above-mentioned guideline.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes. And therefore, all broadcast and TV stations must adhere to your rules and regulations pursuant to this memorandum.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, thank you. And therefore, any complaint against the network can be filed for violation of this.
May I make a clarification, Your Honor. In view of a Supreme Court decision, the Vinagracia case, the NTC has been, the rationale in the decision was that NTC has no authority over content in broadcast station. That the supervision of NTC is technical. So that as a consequence of such decision, complaints filed before the KBP and NTC are referred to the KBP.
But a complaint can be filed for violation of your code of conduct by any entity, shall we say, accredited by the Kapisanan ng Broadcasters ng Pilipinas.
Any
Thank you.
for violation of the code, Your Honor.
Thank you. May I go to Mr. Celis? Hindi
Yes,
ko
sir.
napipilitin na i-reveal mo kung sino yung kwan mo eh. Informant mo. Kasi yung experience mo as a media practitioner and formerly with your organization, kailangan protektahan mo yung identity ng iyong mga informants. I will adhere to that.
Thank you, sir.
Pero ang tanong ko, hindi ba kailangan na pag nakatanggap ka ng impormasyon, even in confidence or even in public, if you have not verified the information or you have not vetted the information given you, it is incumbent on your part to see to it that you verify that before you report it to the public?
I agree. Congressman
No,
Ako,
yes,
sir.
thank you for your answer. And did you do that? You stated those statements that expenses of our speaker here amounted to 1.8 billion. Did you conduct the necessary vetting process?
After only it was aired as a question, Your Honor, because I believe that I need to do the proper ethical conduct of a professional journalist by following up the source.
Sino po ba ang nag-air ng information sa public? Yung informant mo ba o ikaw?
It was I, Your Honor.
Oh, yun na nga ang tanong ko eh. Eh, gusto mo na naman umiwas, hindi ka naman abogado eh. Kagaya ni Atty. Mark. Di ba? Huwag ka nang umiwas. Eh, alam ko naman yung one mo eh.
Noted po, Your Honor.
Yes. Therefore, you did not conduct the necessary vetting process kasi sa trabaho natin, sa intelligence, you verify yung source. Tama? Sabi mo kanina, unknown na source, at saka yung isang source, kilala mo. That was asked by the Honorable Suarez. Di ba?
Yes, sir.
Pero hindi ba sinasabi rin natin, and I think you know this, na you should also verify the information. Kaya alam mo rin yung A1, A2,
Yes, sir.
F6, F1, di ba?
Yes, sir.
Yes. The letters refer to the truthfulness of the information. Tama?
Correct, sir.
And the numbers would refer kung tama yung sinasabi na information sa iyo.
Agree, sir.
Yes. And I think you did not do that.
In that
Being
particular
a
instance,
responsible broadcaster, hindi ba bine-verify nyo muna yung facts bago nyo air sa public? Why? Kasi you might destroy the reputation of people.
I agree to that assertion of the Honorable Congressman Ako.
Thank you. Now, may I go to Attorney Soplico? Pwede ba ikaw sumagot dito?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes. Are you aware of Section 4 of Republic Act 11422?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes. And what is the title of that?
The
Section
title
4?
is Responsibility to the Public. Your
No,
Honor.
responsibility to the public. Whose responsibility is it talking about?
Well, it talks about the grantees' responsibility, Your Honor.
Yes. And there is an enumeration under Section 4 of the responsibilities of the grantee, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, may I know, if I heard it right, SMNI does not have a separate personality
From,
from the owner of the or the grantee.
Your Honor, the grantee is Suarasog.
Yan na nga.
The,
That's precisely my question.
Suarasog,
SMNI does not have a separate personality, right?
yes, Your Honor.
Yes. Why? Because it's not a corporation, as stated by Attorney Mark a while ago. Pero palagi niyong ginagamit yung term na SMNI. Ang sabi rin kanina, mahirap i-pronounce yung pangalan ng corporation. Yung nasagot kanina I have been listening intently a while ago. Now, in the enumeration of the responsibility to the public of the grantee, which is the Suarsog. Yes.
Your Honor.
Meron po kayong responsibility over and above the things being done in your station. Tama?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes. And therefore, nagulat ako kanina nung sinabi ni attorney mo na just because of a disclaimer, mawawalan na ng responsibility yung grantee. When in fact, the law enumerates its responsibility to the public. Would you agree?
Your Honor, we explained earlier.
I'm not asking for an explanation. I'm asking for an answer, yes or no. Would you agree?
Well, Your Honor, yes, Your Honor. There are enumerations here in Section 4, which pertains to the grantee's responsibility, Your Honor.
Yes. And would you agree with me also that if we follow these responsibilities enumerated by law, you have also a certain kind of degree. Kasi narinig ko sa ito, attorney, Rolex, na merong degree of independence yung inyong mga anchor. Now, if they have a degree of independence, the network has also a degree of control over them. Would that be correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And therefore, for any misdemeanor or any violation of law or any violation of the provision of your franchise, you will suffer the consequences.
Well,
Why? Because
to a certain degree,
you
yes, Your
are
Honor.
responsible.
Yes, Your Honor, to a certain degree. But let me point out, Your Honor.
I'm not asking for your explanation, Attorney Rolex. I'm just asking for a yes or no.
Let me qualify my answer, Your Honor.
I'll give you that privilege, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You have the
Your Honor, these are anchors. They exercise, as said earlier, a certain degree of independence from the grantee of the franchise, Suarasog. We cannot tell them what to say. We cannot tell them how to ask a question, when to ask the question, or even who to invite to their programs, Your Honor. Beforehand, they were told that they have to follow certain policies. And in fact, in their contract of service, Your Honor, there is stipulated here, refrain from performing any act or conduct that may tend to tarnish the good reputation of SSMC, that's Suarasog, and put it in a bad light, or that may be prejudicial to SSMC's interests.
Mr. Chair, with your indulgence, Attorney Rolex, hindi naman po nila sinunod yung iyong admonition eh. Now, if they did not follow your admonition, sino po ang responsable? Kasi yun ang gusto kong malaman eh, kaninong responsibilidad?
Your Honor, we have started an internal investigation on this.
I'm not asking whether you have started an internal investigation or not. Nawawala ako sa thread of questioning ko pag ginaganon mo ako, Rolex eh.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. I'm sorry.
We're in the same league.
I know, Your Honor.
Yeah. So, gusto kong malaman na inaamin nyo kanina, may responsibilidad kayo. Di ba? Sabi mo, meron kayong sinabi sa kanila, but they did not follow it.
Well, Your Honor, mahirap kasi sabihan ang anchor kung anong ang kanyang itanong na question, kung kailan niya itanong, kung paano niya itanong. We cannot do that. In the same manner, kung may guest sila, hindi naman namin magsabihan kung sino ang kanilang iimbitahin. Kung ano ang itatanong nila doon sa guest nila. Mahirap eh.
I know it's hard, but that's your responsibility. It's embodied under Section 4 of your franchise law. Otherwise, we will move for the revocation of your franchise if you cannot follow it.
Your Honor, there are maybe degrees, no, of our violation. Maybe I would admit that we may have.
I'm just following your logic. What? Alright. Sige.
Well, Your Honor, as I said, we may touch on press freedom here. I don't want to touch on that.
Talo sa general principles. Pares naman tayo abogado eh.
I'm Your Honor.
Oo. Huwag na tayo magtalo doon. We know for a fact that press freedom is not absolute.
Yes, but
Would you
Your Honor,
agree with me?
Your Honor, but to
The
tell,
only thing absolute is the freedom to believe. You can kneel in front of a post and worship it. That's your right. It's absolute.
but with due respect, Your Honor, to tell an anchor how to ask a question, when to ask a question, how to phrase a question, that is, to my mind, Your Honor, a violation of press freedom. The
That's-
anchor enjoys a certain degree, Your Honor.
You should not do that if you think it is a violation of press freedom. But that is your responsibility as a franchisee holder.
That's
That
why,
they should not violate the law.
that's why, Your Honor, we called your attention and we have started an internal investigation.
I do not want to debate already with my underclass in the Philippine Military Academy.
I'm sorry, Your
So,
Honor.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, proceed.
thank you.
Are you done, Honorable Ako?
Thank you, Your Honor.
May bago ko dumating, kanina ko kasi, may katanungan lang, no, dun sa, on the ownership. Alam nyo ba na dito sa mga dokumentong ibang sinabit sa Kongreso, na ang owner ay, kasi ho, ganito yan eh. Kanina tinanong kung sino ang executive pastor nyo. You gave a name. Pero meron doon kayong mga press release dito sa inyong website. Nakalagay, the executive pastor of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ, Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy. Andito po yun. So the question lang, and this was just forwarded to me now. Can it be he's also the executive pastor, but of course, everybody's addressed as pastor. Nobody's really addressed as executive pastor. Is that correct? Rolex or, diba? Or the president himself.
Can I,
Diba? Pwede
can I
kong
say, Your Honor?
pastor ang tawag, pero siya pong executive pastor.
Can I answer?
Kasi, unless, it's website nyo na po to, ha? Yes,
Actually, Mr. Chair, it was already amended, Mr. Chair. From Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy to Brother Marlon C. Abi Acobo, Mr. Chair.
No. I'm just talking of a, ano to? It's your website kasi.
Website, Mr. Chair. May I know the date of that website?
Hindi po. Pero yung tingnan to,
May I know the name of the website, Mr. Chair?
Jesus Christ, the name above, the kingdom of Jesus Christ, the name above every name.
Maybe, Mr. Chair, it's not
Kingdom
yet updated.
Christ.
Maybe, Mr. Chair, it's not yet updated, Mr. Chair. Because as of 2022, Mr. Chair, December 19, 2022, Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy transferred the executive pastor of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ to Brother Marlon P. Acobo, Mr. Chair.
Okay, my question now, what's that? Paano yun? Sa dokumento yan?
Yes, Mr. Chair. I have a document, Mr. Chair.
Andyan ho yan. Pero dito sa GIS nyo, hindi pa.
The GIS of the executive pastor of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ, the name above every name, the head, Mr. Chair, is already Marlon C. Acobo, Mr. Chair.
So what happened to Pastor Kibuloy? He has to. Kasi ako lang ho, I mean, was he demoted? Paano set up po niyan? From executive pastor, naging pastor, I mean, was there a lowering of rank? Di ba? Kaya naman po natin natanong kasi ho, we're just tinatahi-tahi lang natin, no? Kasi may question ho mamaya. Paano po yan?
I think, Your Honor, it was the decision of Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy
To
transfer the leadership of the executive pastor
to
to Marlon B. Acobo.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
The Honorable Franz Castro is recognized. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, magpo-follow up lang ako, Mr. Chair, dun sa ownership nung SMNI. On your record kasi, 2020, nakalagay yung pangalang Apollo Kibuloy. Ano tama? Kibuloy as, as one of the stockholders. Tama po ba?
No, Mr. Chair. Our latest GIS, Mr. Chair.
No, 2020. I'm asking of the 2020. So, sa 2020 ninyo na information report or GIS yan, andun yung pangalan ni Kibuloy as your stockholder. One of the stockholders.
There was
Tama.
already an amendment, Mr. Chair.
2020, I'm asking attorney of
I have
2020
no record
report.
of the 2020, Mr. Chair.
Well, have you submitted it? Kasi nakita lang namin sa report. Your submission in the report. So paano mo sasabihin ngayong attorney na wala kayong record ng 2020 and you've said you are regularly submitting your your report.
2020. No? So 2020. So 2020, Mr. Chair, Pastor Apollo Siquiboles was there.
Yeah, as a
But-
stockholder.
But
Tama?
amended already in 2020.
No, I'm not asking for the amendments. In 2020, Pastor Apollo Kibuloy is the stockholder, one of the stockholders, right? Yes or no?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so, and then after 2020, that is 2021, 2022, and up to present, wala na siya doon. Tama?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. So, nakalagay na lang doon, Executive Pastor of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ. Tama?
The name above every name incorporated, Mr. Chair. Yes, Mr. Chair.
As a stockholder, ito yung Executive Pastor of the Kingdom, and you have named that to be Marlon Acobo,
Yes,
right?
Mr. Chair. 53.46%.
Nung 2020 po, magkano, how many percent yung share ni Pastor Kibuloy?
We will provide a copy, maybe, Mr. Chair, next meeting, Mr. Chair, because we have no record yet
750.
in our possession, Mr. Chair.
Ano sabi
750 ang ownership amount. Apol.
So, in your report kasi, Mr. Chair, meron siyang amount na 750,000.
50,000.
So, si Kibuloy, tama po ba? Doon sa report na sinubmit.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so at ilang porsyento po yun ng buong stocks?
So our record is not, we are not in the possession of the record, Mr. Chair. Our record is only 2023 and 2022, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so may I ask,
So we can confirm that, Mr. Chair.
so Mr. Chair, may I ask the record of 2020 to be submitted here, the list of stockholders
Yes,
and
Mr.
their shares?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. So, etong si Marlon Acobo, have 53.46% share, tama po?
So it's not Marlon Acobo, but the Executive Pastor of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ, the name above every name, INC.
Well,
And
wait,
The,
Mr. Chair. Sabi mo kanina, etong Marlon Acobo, you are referring it to Executive Pastor of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ. Niname mo na yon. So, nakakalito kasi Attorney Mark. Yung sinasabi mo kasi niname mo na sino itong Executive Pastor of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ, Marlon Acobo. Ang share niya po ay 53.46.
but per GIS, the name, the owner of the 53.46 is the Executive Pastor of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ, the name above every name.
Who is that?
So it's Marlon Acobo, Mr. Chair.
Yun na. Pinagloloko mo kami, attorney, ha? Wag ganyan. Matipikon na ako. Okay, so yun na nga yun. So, individual po itong tinatawag ninyong executive pastor. Individual po ito.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Hindi siya organization.
It is a sole corporation sole, Mr. Chair.
Sole corporation, sabi mo kanina, individual. Sole corporation.
Because it is registered under SEC. The executive pastor of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ is registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission.
Is this a corporation of one?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Who is that person?
Marlon Acobo, Mr. Chair.
Yun.
Sole
Okay.
proprietor. Sole corporation.
No, it's
Corporation of
SEC.
one.
Ha?
Corporation sole.
Corporation.
Pero corporation of one. Isang tao lang.
Kaya nga, sole proprietor.
So it's not a sole proprietor.
Sa ano siya? Corporation of
Because
one.
corporation sole, it is registered under SEC. Sole proprietorship is registered under DTI. That's different.
Okay. Sige. At pag sinabi po nating sole corporation, isa lang.
One person.
Corporation of one.
Yes.
Ah.
There's only one stockholder, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so yun. So how is he related to Pastor Kibuloy?
He is Brother Marlon Acobo is the executive pastor of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ.
As for what date?
As of 2022, December, and Pastor Apollo Sikibuloy is the pastor of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ.
Mr. Chair, maybe we can ask the submission of the
That document.
mga documents
Yes,
na
we will
yun.
submit that.
And we'll ask
Thank you.
also, Mr. Chair, can we invite Marlon Acobo here in our next meeting, Mr. Chair?
Okay.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Okay, thank you po.
But he is in Dubai now, so we can we ask for maybe 2 weeks or 1 week
Okay.
from now.
We take
Yeah.
it. Thank you.
Okay. Sige. You said at present, Kibuloy is the honorary chairman of SMNI, right? Kasi
Yes,
sinabi mo kanina.
yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. So as an honorary chairman, ano po yung role niya sa SMNI?
It's just a symbolic, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
Symbolic chairman.
So wala
So
siyang
no
control.
function,
No control.
no day-to-day decision of the corporation.
Okay. And sinabi mo rin kanina, Mr. Chair, that Kibuloy is a black timer din.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
In fact, I can present, Mr. Chair, right now a receipt that the Kingdom of Jesus Christ is a black timer of SMNI.
So are you aware of the case that Pastor Kibuloy is in the ano? At in fact, he is considered as the FBI most wanted FBI for serious crimes. Are you aware? The SMNI? Are you aware po?
Per news, yes, I'm aware, but I have no personal knowledge.
Who has a personal knowledge?
I am not the lawyer of Pastor Apollo Kibuloy with respect to that case.
So hindi mo alam yung kaso.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
How about President Marlon Rosette? Do you know the case of Pastor Kibuloy?
You can read it anywhere. You can read it in the news. Your Honor.
Hindi yan yung sagot na tinatanong ko. Do you know the case of, wag ako yung tanungin mo,
Yes,
Mr. Marlon Rosette?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ang tanong ko, are you aware of this case ni ni Kibuloy?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. How about Attorney Rolex Silpit? Attorney Rolex. Hindi ko mabasa.
Well, Your Honor, I read about it.
Yes
but,
or no? Are you aware po? Yes or no?
Well, I read about it, so yes.
Okay.
But I'm not a
So,
lawyer
yun
din.
po.
I don't even know.
So hindi ko po tinatanong kung kayo po yung lawyer. Tinatanong ko lang po.
Okay.
So ito po yung fact, no? So the string of charges filed against them, including Kibuloy, by prosecutors in Los Angeles, California, include conspiracy to engage in sex trafficking by force, fraud and coercion, sex trafficking of children, marriage fraud, fraud and misuse of visas, bulk cash smuggling, promotional money laundering, concealment money laundering, and international promotional money laundering. So yun po yung case. Okay? Na final sa kanya doon sa Los Angeles. So with this, Mr. Chair, maybe in the next meeting, I would like to, we would like to invite the DOJ and the DFA as regards dito sa case. Kasi alam natin ang SMNI, dati, sinasabi nila, ang major stockholder nito ay, o dati rin, stockholder ay si Kibuloy, na may kinalaman din ito doon sa franchise. Or may kinalaman ito sa ownership, Mr. Chair. So, can we invite the DOJ and the DFA so that we can know the status of the case? Okay.
So we will invite.
Invite Pastor Kibuloy.
Thank you.
DOJ and DFE.
So, yes, we will do that. Thank you.
Okay. Kanina, Mr. Chair, sa SMNI pa rin. Mr. Celis mentioned that he discussed with SMNI's editorial board. So, ang ibig sabihin, sa ano man pong pinapakita nila or nilalabas nila dun sa program nila, ay alam po ito ng editorial board. Kasi sinabi kanina ni Mr. Celis na kinoconsult niya daw yung editorial board. Tama po ba yon? Sino po ba yung editorial board dito, Mr. Chair?
Wala po dito, Your Honor.
Kasi yun ang sinabi kanina ni Mr. Celis. Celis mentioned that he discussed with SMNI editorial board yung sinabi niya kanina no, na information. So that implies alam ng SMNI yung content ng program. Tama po ba?
After po nung nangyari po.
After. Okay. Ay, after na rin nangyari, sa kinonsult yung editorial board.
Doon po namin nalaman. Kasi hindi nga po, Your Honor, makontrol. Kasi hindi namin masabihan kung anong itanong, anong sabihin, kasi nasa live na po sila.
Hindi, ano sinasabi kanina ni Mr. Celis na nagko-consult siya? It is before the program or after po?
Actually, Mr. Chair, the board knows.
Well, attorney, sandali lang po. Kasi we can go back to the video. Whatever you say now, the video was very clear. And my understanding was, nakuha niya yung source, pumunta siya sa board, tapos bumalik siya sa programa. So anyway, we will revisit na lang. Let's revisit the video kung ano sinagot ni Eric, okay? Okay, I will just revisit kasi if you deny it now, it was said already and she's quoting something that was said earlier. So we will just revisit the video and that will be the basis for whatever decision we come up with. Thank you.
So, sinabing ko lang, Mr. Chair, so wala kayong alam sa content ng programa nitong laban kasama ng bayan? Wala kayong alam?
Nung time na yan, Mr. Chair, wala kaming alam po.
Okay, thank you.
Ay, no, sa ibang mga time. Kasi 3 years yan na nag-e-ere.
As a rule kasi po, we know the general content of the program, but there is no specific content.
Yes, you
Because
know the
we-
general content.
Yes, yun lang po ang alam po namin.
Okay. So wala po kayong editorial board dyan na mga kaalaman. Reviewin na lang natin.
Sa ngayon po,
So ano po ba yung process ninyo? As a co-product, sabi mo kanina, Attorney Mark, etong programa na ito is a co-produced by the SMNI network
when
itself.
I say co-produce, Mr. Chair, with respect to the advertisements, 50% will go to the SMNI through Swara Sub Media Corporation, and 50% to the talents.
Okay. Aside
That's,
from
talent fees.
talent fee. Okay. So yun po pala ang ibig sabihin ng co-prod.
Yes, Mr. Yes, Mr.
Okay.
Chair.
So yung hatian doon sa mga advertisements.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. So thank you for that clarification. Dito sa KBP po. Kanina malinaw na nasabi as attorney, Mr. Chair, kanina malinaw na nasabi po no na there is certain violation since they are not accredited broadcaster po ng KBP, yung dalawang anchor. Ano po saan po yung accountability mapupunta po? Since hindi sila under ninyo, di ba? So hindi nyo sila mape-penalize or whatever the sanction. So sino po yung accountability just in case na lumabag ulit dun sa inyong code, Mr. Chair?
Mr. Chair, the party accountable for violation of the rule of allowing only accredited ABP members to go on the air is upon the network.
Okay. Have you initiated po yung ano? So, meron po bang mga kaso na about the SMNI on the violation of code na nakasampa po sa KVP, Mr. Chair?
None, Your Honors.
So, wala pa. Okay. So sinasabi nyo kanina, Mr. Chair, ang KBP po parang it seems that meron na violation do sa code na ang accountable dito po ay yung network. So, are you planning to to investigate and to file whatever charge na related po dun sa inyong code.
Let me clarify, Mr. Chair. The violation is for allowing a non-accredited broadcaster to go on the air. That's the violation of the network.
Mm-mm.
The content is different. So,
Okay, so yun po.
Yes.
Will you initiate po yung investigation or maybe a case against the network for allowing non-accredited broadcaster?
considering the information gathered during this hearing, Your Honors, I will report this to the Standards Authority of KBP.
Yes, thank you po. Nakalagay po kasi dito, Mr. Chair, doon sa Broadcast Code of the Philippines 2007, and number 5B, section 5B, an unconfirmed report must be verified as soon as possible. If an unconfirmed report is found to be false, an announcement saying so must be made. So nakalagay po yun sa code. So ang meron pong responsibility and accountability dito ay yung network. Kasi hindi naman accredited yung mga broadcasters. Tama po.
As a rule, the content in any broadcast, as a rule, is the responsibility of the network.
So, yan, iniimbestigahan na nga po kung ano yung nangyari. Okay. Sige, isa pang tanong. Doon po sa may, doon po sa, so, in the matter of being broadcast, for example po, if a matter of being broadcast is a threat or death threat, halimbawa, ano po yung responsibility po doon ng network?
Madam, Mr. Chair, I'm sorry I could not trust the question code. But if I, in the context of the subject matter of this hearing, I believe you're referring to the alleged death threat made by PRRD.
Included in the resolution, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Your Honor. Well, that's the responsibility of the guest.
The network.
I guess there should be a distinction between a live broadcast and a recorded broadcast.
Mhm.
Mainly because in a live broadcast, you cannot stop the broadcast while it's being made. Whereas in a recorded broadcast, you have the opportunity to edit out the content before it is aired. So my understanding is the broadcast was live. And therefore, the network's responsibility is mitigated by that fact. We have had cases in the KBP where the content in question was a live broadcast. And because it is live, the responsibility of the network was mitigated. Without saying, of course, that the broadcaster is not responsible.
The network is responsible? Are you saying that?
No, the responsibility of the network is mitigated by the fact that it is live.
Mhm.
As distinguished from a material which is recorded, where the network had the opportunity to edit out the content or the content before being aired.
Okay. So may I ask the opinion of Attorney Domingo of the MAD as regards to how about yung pong mga about red tagging? Kasi alam ko po meron kayong mga kaso ng mga red tagging. So may I ask your opinion po about doon sa mga kaso nyo about red tagging?
Nakasala na po lahat yun. Naka-file na po lahat ng aming kaso on red tagging. Ibibigay ko po ng kopya ng ating mga complaints sa Madam Congressman. Karamihan po dito marami po dito, kasama po yung ating kasamahan dito. At pumunta po kami rin sa Professional Regulations Commission. At pinapaalis namin ang lisensya nung nasa sakdal. Pero yung relevant po dito sa ating pinag-usapan ngayon, yung pong kaso namin against Lorraine Marie Badoy Partosa sa NTC, no? At gusto naming paalisin din siya. Hindi pala, ngayon, nalaman po namin na hindi pala siya kasamang accredited ng broadcasters, no? So, hindi po namin alam kung pwede rin po namin bigyan siya ng accusation sa Broadcasters Code violation. But ang isa pang question natin dito, sila Kibuloy ba at saka si dating Presidente Duterte accredited din bang broadcaster?
Ayan, darating po ako dyan. Darating po ako dyan, attorney, yung tanong na yan.
Pero yung po lahat na tinanong niyo po, marami po ito, no? 4 po kanina nasabi ko at 5, pati kasama na po kay Atom Arroyo na aming na-file ng MAD, no? Against the 2 persons here in front of me. So yan pong pinaka-latest. Of course, yung great threat na complaint na kami rin ng mahawak, nakabinbin na po yan sa Fiscal's Office ng Quezon City. At sa December 4 po, magkakaroon po ng preliminary investigation at December 11. So, continuing po itong aming advocacy at kami ay kami willing to help the congressional committees to be able to craft legislation in aid of legislation po itong ating hearing. We're willing to come up with our own position and we will provide the necessary papers for that, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, attorney. Balik po ako sa KBP. As regards po doon sa live or recorded, kasi sabi nyo, parang walang control po yung network kapag ito po ay live. Kung ito po ay in-upload sa mga Facebook, sa mga official Twitter or Facebook na network, kasi ang SMNI meron silang Facebook, meron silang Twitter, pero yung content na yon ng merong laman ng grave threat ay nandoon pa rin. Even if itong dalawang broadcaster na to o yung black timer na ito ay hindi naman sila, siyempre hindi sabi ng network, hindi nila control. Kung ito po ay yung threat na ito ay inakyat pa sa sa Facebook, in-upload pa. So ano po yung masasabi niyo doon, Mr. Chair?
Mr. Chair, can I dissect the question if you allow me?
Yeah, okay.
One is the responsibility of a guest in a program. The guest is not a broadcaster. He's not under the authority of the KBP, nor the network. So the guest can be liable for such things as libel, threat, etc., but not in the context of the code of KBP. If the person who makes the threat is an anchor, then the responsibility is the anchor's responsibility, and possibly the networks for allowing it if it were recorded. Now, in the case of uploaded content, as distinguished from live streaming content, uploaded content is considered recorded material. And therefore, it is upon the person uploading to edit it in order to conform to community standards or the law, as the case may be. In streaming, live streaming, the control is limited because, as similar to a live broadcast, you have no control of what the person, particularly the guest, will answer. In the case of the alleged threat of the former president, the material is not content for which the network is responsible for, because that is what the anchor said. In fact, that is news as far as the network is concerned. As to the persons alluded to or against whom the threat was directed, that's a different matter. And that's between the guest for having aired the threat and the person being threatened.
So you are referring to the guest as the black timer. In the case of, yun nga, yung nasa isang resolution dito, in this resolution po, si President Duterte at saka si Kibuloy as black timer doon sa program na yon, nagikan sa masa para sa masa. So walang responsibility ang network. Kung merong pagmumura, kung merong threat o merong mga obscene na mga words, wala pong responsibility dahil sinasabi niyo po, hindi sila accredited broadcaster, hindi rin sila anchor. So, ano na lang po, kahit na sino lang po, pwedeng may gawin na doon. Basta may mababayaran lang po nila ang yung network. Pwede nang magmura. Pero yung sinasabi niyo yung code para sa mga broadcaster. So, ano naman po yung responsibility ng network doon? Doon sa mga black timer ng mga nagmumura or nagsasalita ng hindi naman maganda or yun po, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, I don't know in what capacity the former president was airing in the station. In the context of the discussion, since that is a co-produced program, I doubt if the president was even a black timer there. Because that's a different arrangement.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Attorney. Tanong ko na lang sa SMNI. So, ano po yung laban, yung gikan sa masa para sa masa, ano po yan, black timer po ba yun? Or
Yes, Mr. Chair. It's a black
yes.
timer.
So, bumili sila ng oras.
Yes, Mr.
So,
Chair.
black timer po. Attorney.
In a block time arrangement, basically the network, the block timer is the party responsible for the content. The network, however, can post immediately after the fact, deal with the matter of the broadcast of the block timer. And in fact, if it is in violation of the code, it can be a ground for terminating the block time arrangement.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Dun po nalinawan ako doon. How about MTRCB, Mr. Chair? So ano po ba yung role ng MTRCB? Kasi I know recently meron kayong sinuspend na isang show dahil sa mga lewd na or merong bastos na salita ba or whatever sa isang noontime show. So ano po ba yung responsibility ng MTRCB as regards to yung, di ba, meron kayong nakalagay doon for general public, for 13 and above, na ganon. So, yung pong naging programa, ito yung nasa resolution, na kung saan pinagbantaan ako nung dating presidente, kasama si Kibuloy, as black timers, may ginawa ba kayo dito, MTRCB? Anong ginawa nyo rito?
Just before MTRCB will answer, I just would like to be clear. Kanina sinabi nyo, hindi kayo black timer. Ngayon, black timer na kayo. Ano ba? Kasi talent yan eh. As matter, you were sanctioning your talent.
Actually, Mr. Chair.
So that could have been a black time. We asked that earlier. Why the change of your position?
No, Mr. Chair. Yung gikan sa masa, para sa masa is a black timer. But yung laban kasama ng bayan is a co-prod. That's different programs, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. So she was referring to a different
Yes.
Different program,
Thank you.
Mr. Chair. MTRCB, ano po yung ginawa niyo po doon sa program? Or ano ba yung ginawa niyo doon?
Your Honor. Yeah. We responded to the complaints and we called the parties over for to hear their side also for a hearing and to adjudicate on this matter. And we were
Mr. Chair, sinong pinatawag niyo sa hearing?
yeah.
If I may po, we immediately took action when we heard about
Who's speaking? Sino po sila?
CB po,
Attorney Ana.
Attorney Ana po from MTR.
Okay, please. Go ahead.
We immediately took action when we heard about that, Mr. Speaker. So we submitted submitted a notice to appear sa SMNI po for preliminary conference. And then just like what the KBP spoke, since naka-live po siya, they said that in order po, they explained po that the relevant episode of the program was aired live, as a result of which they had no control over the statements made by their guest of the program. So what we did po during the conference was that to prevent po the recurrence of the same, the network or SMNI decided to pre-record the succeeding episodes of the program, also to edit the same by deleting what it deems to be potentially offensive to the sensibilities of the public before it can be aired. Now, the recent issue po ngayon regarding the laban laban kasama ang bayan, we actually also sent out a notice of appeal to the network regarding this po, since it is under the mandate of the MTRCB based on PD 1986 po, to call them if there is an alleged violation under Section 3C of our PD po. If it found that those which tend or those to approve or disapprove, delete objectionable portions from and or prohibit the importation, exportation, production, copying, distribution, sale, lease, exhibit, or television broadcast of the motion pictures, television programs, and publicity materials in the judgment of the board applying contemporary Filipino cultural value as a standard are objectionable for being immoral, indecent, contrary to law and or good customs, injurious to the prestige of the Republic of the Philippines or its people, or with a dangerous tendency to encourage the commission of violence or of a wrong or crime, such as but not limited to the second subparagraph 2, those which tend to undermine the faith and confidence of the people in their government and or duly constituted authorities. Subparagraph 6, those which are libelous or defamatory to the good name and reputation of any person, whether living or dead. So we have scheduled we scheduled a hearing under the Hearing and Adjudication Committee scheduled this Thursday po at 1:30 p.m. in the afternoon.
December 2nd.
Linawin ko lang, Mr. Chair. So ano yung tinutukoy nating program dito? Kasi ang tinatanong ko kanina, yung gikan sa masa, para sa masa. So ito yung black timer ninyo, si dating Presidente Marcos at saka si Pastor Kibuloy. Ay, sorry, dating Presidente Duterte at saka si Pastor Kibuloy. So, stand corrected, Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
So, ang sabi nyo kanina, nagkaroon kayo ng parang kumbaga preliminary. And you will have your hearing by?
For the gikan sa masa, para sa masa po, we already had our preliminary conference. We already resolved that issue, ma'am. For the second issue po, which is the
Laban
kasama bayan.
Ay, well, hindi ko tinatanong yun.
Okay, ma'am.
Yung gikan na lang tayo.
Okay. Para sa
so, can we have a copy of your resolution on that? Kasi, Mr. Chair, hindi lang nung October 11 sila nag-threat sa akin. Inulit pa yun sa isang program ng November. So napanood niyo rin po ba yung sumunod na threat din sa akin?
Ma'am, Your Honor, please, the decision, your resolution namin, it was based on the October 10.
Yeah, okay. Based on the October 10. So I'm informing you, meron pa rin pong isang show, no, na tingin ko ay nag-threat ulit sa akin si former President Duterte. So kung titignan niyo yung mga show, review niyo yung mga show ni Duterte after po. Teka, tingnan ko lang yung date.
Just to clarify, ma'am, this is not a replay of the old show, but a new show,
Yes.
a different show.
Yes.
And we have not yet received any complaint regarding that.
Attorney. Sir Chair, sandali. Anong date yun? November. Okay, so it is sometime, ito November po. Hindi ko lang nadala yung aking complaint.
Yes, ma'am. The October 10 issue or the incident regarding Gikan, was resolved by the MTRCB on November 9.
Okay, can you give us the
We have a copy of that resolution here.
Okay. Sige po.
Yes.
So ito na, Mr. Chair, sinasabi ko na lang dito, no? You have to review also yung program ng gikan sa masa para sa masa na another threat din po sa akin. Nalimutan ko lang hindi. November 16 show. November 16 show po. Very recent yun. So, that's all, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, I have a question before I would ask our Senior Deputy Speaker. NTC. Are there pending complaints against SMNI or Suarasu?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, Your Honor, there is a pending,
How many?
there's one administrative case pending before the NTC. And this this has already been docketed under NTC case number 2022-027, Your Honor. And the parties have been summoned on this one.
When?
And there were several.
How many cases? Only one?
Isang
Is it
case lang,
administrative? Is there
This
any
is
other?
administrative case.
Only one?
Yes, yes, sir.
So there's no other cases? Isa lang?
So far, isa lang po.
Okay. So can you just submit that document to the, in the interest of time?
We will do.
Now,
We will comply, Your Honor.
Has SMNI or Suarasu been penalized by the Commission for previous infractions in the past?
To my recollection, Mr. Chair, wala pa po.
You heard of the cases. You've been here from the beginning.
Yes,
Do you think
Mr.
there's an
Chair.
infraction of the franchise?
Well, in as much as basing on the discussions that have already that has progressed this afternoon, Mr. Chair, particularly on the with respect to section 4 of the RA on 11422, and in kind response to your query, Mr. Chair, the alleged acts seem to disregard the mandated responsibility to the public of the franchisee under its franchise 114222 regarding the dissemination of deliberately false information or willful representation to the detriment of the public interest. But nevertheless, Your Honor, since this is a Act 11422 is a franchise congressional act of Congress, the NTC defers to the wisdom of the Congress to determine such violations if indeed it establishes that there were violations on this particular provision.
But
Mr. Chair.
that's right. My question was, is your answer to affirmative? That there were infractions?
There appears to be infractions, Mr. Chair,
Of
on certain
Section 4.
provisions of the franchise, particularly the reference provision on Section 4 on the responsibility of the franchisee not to use the station or its facilities for the dissemination of willful or false information.
Thank you
Mr.
very
Chair.
much. Before I acknowledge the SDS, I think the Honorable Gutierrez only has one short question, one manifestation question. The Honorable Gutierrez, you are recognized, and the Senior Deputy Speaker Gonzalez next.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In spirit of brevity, I will no longer question sections 4 and 7 as this were exhaustively and expertly handled by our colleagues earlier. Mr. Chair, just wanted to ask, building on the interpellation of Congressman Pimentel, so reportorial requirements, I believe only 2023, 22, 21, 20 were submitted. Do we not have 2019 GIS?
All were submitted, Mr. Chair.
All were submitted.
Do you have documents to prove that 2019 was
No. We can submit it, Mr. Chair.
Yun yung tanong nga po, no? So 2019 was not submitted.
Because it was the franchise was approved August of 2019. And under the law, annually. So 2019 to 2020.
So 2019, pero wala po kayong GIS ng 2019?
Ano?
May we request for GIS ng 2019?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Chair, maybe ask yung Corporation Seoul that was mentioned earlier. What date was this incorporated?
I would like to ask the COMSEC, do you have to submit the 2019 considering that that's coming in from the old franchise which is granted by Congress? So 2019 should still be submitted, correct? Okay, we will check that record now. Thank you.
So the start of the year is 2020. From 2019 to 2020, we submit that reportorial requirement. We comply that reportorial requirement. Then 2020 to 21, another reportorial. 21 to 22, then 22 to 23.
Correct, correct.
Mr.
So,
Chair, regardless.
yeah, I mean, it's still 2020, 21, 22, 23. But 2019 is the question. Because there should have been a submission of 2019 too.
2019 to 2020.
Mr. Chair, just GIS 2019.
No, 2020 is the calendar year of 2020, 21, 2018, 2017. Wala nating, So 2020, I'm talking of the operations of 2019. You should have submitted, that should have been submitted. It hasn't been
It
submitted.
was submitted, Mr. Chair.
Huh? Yun lang.
Submitted already.
Okay, can you please show that? Thank you.
Well, in either case, we can further list it. So, Mr. Chair, going back to the question, yung date ng corporation sold natin.
Kailan? 2020. Mr. Chair, we have here the certificate of filing an amended articles of incorporation. The date is January of 23, Mr. Chair.
I'm sorry? Mr. Chair, my question is what date na-incorporate yung corporation soul? Yung executive pastor, etc., etc. Kailan po yun na-incorporate?
Your Honor, when we applied the new franchise in the year 2019, it's already corporation sold.
Yeah, may we know the exact date?
Yung nag-apply tayo, October? Can we bring
Can we
to the next?
Can we bring the document, Mr. Chair, in the next session if we may?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. So, I guess wala silang data right now. So, we'll be expecting the JS of SSMC for 2019. And then, siguro, isama na po natin lahat ng JS nung...
Executive Pastor.
Yes, please.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And then, Mr. Chair, may we also move that we invite the SEC to our next hearings. Yun lamang po for now, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Don Gonzalez is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, to our resource persons, my dear colleagues. Well, kanina pa po ako nakikinig. Kanina ko pa tinitingnan tong figure na to. Yung ginastos ni Speaker is 4.3 million pesos. Tapos 35 million sa Congress and staff. Napakalaking discrepancy kasi nung 1.8 billion to 2 billion na narinig ko kay Rick. Kay Rick, ang tanong kanina ni Kong JJ, sabi mo, tiga saan ba yung source? Dalawang Congress yan, isang lower house at saka isang upper house. Definitely, hindi yan from lower house. Sabi niyo po, sa Senado siya, di ba?
Yes, Your Honor, yes.
Pwede niyo bang sabihin kung tiga saan yung staff na yun? Sa technical staff po siya ng isang senador, o basta empleyado siya ng gobyerno na tiga Senado?
To satisfy po the minimum requirement of giving doon po sa nagsagot sa tanong ni Senior Deputy Speaker Gonzales, government employee po siya, nasa Senate, and upon consultation po sa ilang mga provision na tinitingnan ko dito sa batas that will cover the protection of the source of every journalist or reporter. Senior Deputy Speaker, sir, may I respectfully refer that I will refer to the SOTO Law Protection or the Republic Act number 53. As I researched it from the internet, that there is an existing law that covers precisely and particularly the right of the source to be protected as covered in this kind of particular law na tinatawag po na SOTO Law. So, with due respect sa kay Senior Deputy Speaker at sa committee bang ito, Congressman Gonzales, sir, may I defer my answer na siya po ay hanggang doon lang empleyado po ito sa Senado currently.
Tama po kayo, Mr. Chairman, kay Eric. Pero regarding this Republic Act 6713, na the Code of Conduct and Ethical Standards for Public Officials and Employees, specifically Section 4, Paragraph C. So babasahin ko lang po on the record, Mr. Chairman, that the Code of Conduct and Ethics Standard for Public Officials and Employees, Section 4, letter C, justness, and sincerity, public officials and employees shall remain true to the people at all times. They must act with justness and sincerity and shall not discriminate against anyone, especially the poor and the underprivileged. Mr. Chairman, they shall at all times respect the rights of others and shall refrain from doing acts contrary to the law, good morals, good customs, public policy, public order, public safety, and public interest. They shall not dispense or extend undue favor on account of their office to their relatives, whether by consanguinity in affinity, except with respect to appointments of such relatives to positions considered strictly confidential, or as members of their personal staff whose terms are coterminous with theirs, Mr. Chairman. So ito po yung aking ibig sabihin, Mr. Chairman, Eric, at alam na po natin yun, at this is unfair to our fellow citizen. Kaya itong Republic Act 6713 is a covenant between government employees and the people that we serve. After all, it is to them that we owe our office. If you do not tell us the identity of the source, the employee is deceiving the people he is serving. Eric, hindi ba ang namesake ng inyong palabas ay para sa bayan? Tulungan niyo po kami. Tulungan natin ang bayan para malaman po ang katotohanan. Maraming salamat po, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, may I briefly respond to that kind of assertion being prodded by the good Senior Deputy Speaker?
Kailangan ko muna sagot. Sagot, yeah.
Okay, sir. Tama po. I agree to that, sir. That is precisely Senior Deputy Leader, sir, Congressman Gonzales, Mr. Chairman, Congressman Suarez, and the rest of the committee. Kaya po kami araw-araw ay naglalahad ng katotohanan tungkol sa existence of infiltration of the government by the real enemies of the state, pretending to be part of the government. I agree with that kind of provision on ethical conduct and professional conduct of government employees so that our government will be protected. But in this particular sense of the reference source that I am referring to, I think the more primordial interest of providing that information which had been verified today na hindi tumutugma sa katotohanan ng datos mula sa Kongreso is already established. And pangalawa, malinaw po na yung kanyang intent is to ask questions. So without malice on our part sa Laban Kasamang Bayan, we provided the question. And again, ulitin ko sa tanong kagina ni Congressman Suarez, do we take responsibility for that inadvertence and failure to conduct proper vetting of the source and the information? Yes po, ulitin namin yan. And if kailangan po ulitin dito sa komitibang ito, ang paghingi po ng pag-unawa, Congressman Gonzales, sir, at Mr. Chairman, tungkol dito sa pangyayari na yan na nasaktan ang integridad ni Speaker Martin Romualdez at ng institusyon ng Kongreso dahil sa ganitong pangyayari, I take full responsibility in behalf of the program anchor and in my personal capacity and even from the station to take responsibility that this is a hard lessons learned na pwedeng makuryente at mapasok tayo kapag hindi nagkaroon ng tinatawag na pag-observe ng due diligence, prudence, and propriety in the source verification. And I'm happy to note with that kind of assertion of the Senior Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, because this is a public interest. That's why I'm asking you po, Mr. Chairman, Eric, kung ito po, sagutin nyo lang po kung pwede. Ito ba secretariat staff or senate staff? Yun lang po, para at least alam po namin. Para at least ano na po ako.
Nasa senate po siya.
Boss, pwedeng...
Okay,
yes, may dugtong lang ako. Earlier, you were emphasizing enemies of the state. And disinformation, destroying the very institution that we swore allegiance to protect and uphold, is an enemy of the state. Yung nagbigay sa iyo ng information, false, destroying the very integrity of the House of Representatives, is borderline enemy of the state. Kung susundan ko lang po yung prinsipyong ipinaglalaban ninyo, wala po akong nakikita ang pagkakamali. Kung babanggitin niyo po dito sa kapulungan ito, yung source ninyo. Kasi sa totoo lang po, co-produced yung programa. As much as you take responsibility, SMNI as a network has also big weight on their shoulders to carry with regards to the responsibility of what is aired. So I would just like to reiterate the request of SDS Don Gonzales on this issue.
Mr.
Yes,
Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, can I add something? Kasi medyo magulo na yung utak ko kasi kongreso po to, no? In fact, isang congress lang to, isang lower, isang upper. Sana yung source nanggaling po dito sa mababang kapulungan. Ang tanong po dito, ba't nanggaling pa doon sa Senate yung source? Kaya that is a big question mark to me and I think to my colleagues. Sana dito nanggaling eh. So parang naglalaro sa isip ko ngayon, parang ba't Senado pa galing yung source? Diba?
Actually, baka nga wala talagang source. Diba? So I mean, we can't validate, verify the statements made by Ka Eric if you're gonna be non-committal. And that's quite unfortunate. But if you will be more truthful and prudent with your answers, I guess we can determine the statements that you have issued, whether or not it has violated the franchise of SMNI, no?
Yes, sir.
So,
Thank you po.
Ako, isa na lang po.
So, sino?
Mr. Chairman, okay. Mr. Chairman, isa na lang po talaga. Pili ka lang po kayo sa dalawa. Secretariat staff of the Senate or Senate staff?
I already stipulated my position. The information will be limited to that, and I will stand on the provisions provided as a protection under the SOTO law.
Yes. Okay. So, thank you very much, SDS. Kasi baka
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
ang
Thank you.
sabi nga
Thank
ni
you.
Kong JJ, pwedeng lahat yun, pwedeng wala ron. So, maraming pwedeng mangyari kasi wala nga tayong pangalan. And I think if I understand Kong JJ, this does not end here because, in the absence of who, that leaves a very big question. And thank you for taking the cudgels. But like I said earlier, this is about the franchise of the network. This is not about you per se. That's why the question is, was there an infraction? If there's an infraction, what does Congress do? So, dun ho tayo pupunta. And how I wish that makompleto po natin yung istorya kung itutuloy nyo yung, maybe if you would like an executive session on this, we're going to give an executive session on this because that will be very crucial sa magiging desisyon po ng Kongreso. Ngayon, kung wala naman po talaga, huwag na kayo magbanggit dahil, diba, wala namang, kasi baka magkakuryentehan na naman. Okay. So ako po nag-iingat din. And I'd like to again to make this clear because you have to understand that this is in aid of legislation and for future all applications. These are some lessons learned here for me and for my committee. As far as franchises, how franchises should be given and approved by this committee. And definitely a decision will be after, I will have to confirm with my members. And we will call for another hearing tentatively next week. So please, I suggest, prepare those documents because if those documents are not yet here, then we will be going around again and uulit-ulitin lang natin itong hearing na to and we will have to come up with the decisions very, very pagkatapos na po ng investigation, mag-decision na kami. Isabit na po yung dokumento, nakikiusap po ako sa inyo na sa lahat ng hiningan, pati ho yung mga resource persons natin na iba, may mga dokumento, Attorney Rico Domingo, yung mga dokumento pong hinihingi po sa inyo. Paki-submit MTRCB, yung dokumento na hinihingi po sa inyo, paki-submit po.
Maybe you recognize, Your Honor.
Yes, Attorney Domingo.
I've been raising my hand because there's an invocation of Republic Act number 53,
Which is,
the newsman's privilege, not to disclose the source of
Yes.
the, but there is an exception to that,
which is,
security of the state. I teach that in law school. So if you can relate that you should demand the disclosure of the identity of that person in the interests of the security of the state, then you can hold that person accountable for it.
thank you very much. And that's why you'll be invited again next hearing. Okay? Wala pa po tayong, hindi pa po tapos to. So you will get your notices. We're tentatively going to set this on Tuesday. Magsiguraduhin ko lang po na yung kwarto ko natin. Pero this is tentatively set on Tuesday. No? And before I end, we got a letter. I got a letter this morning from a certain Luis Birogo. Subject, letter complaint against Warma Sug Media Corporation and Sunshine Media Network International. 4 pages. Here. 4 na pahina. And basically what he is, he's cited his demand for the study of the franchise, and he requests that he also be invited in a committee hearing. So please include COMSEC, this person, in the committee hearing. His name is Luis Biraogo. Luis C. Biraogo. Okay? So please, here's his, this has been received by the committee. When did you receive? Today. It was received this morning. 11, maybe he found out that we have a hearing, so he came up with this letter. So
Yes, Mr. Chair.
thank you.
Can I just add lang something very important? I just came to realize an important point. Due to the revelations of Ka Eric, I think we are treading on very dangerous waters when it comes to interparliamentary relationships with the Senate. May I request that the transcripts of the said hearing be forwarded to the Senate for the Senate to respond? Because if this is true, and assuming that tama yung sinasabi ni Ka Eric, may naglalabas ng disinformation laban sa mababang kapulungan. At ang pinaghuhugutan pa nito ay yung kasamahan natin sa Kongreso na ibang na Senado. And I think those are very, very dangerous situation to find ourselves in. So I hope that we can take this seriously, because these are not simple accusations anymore. These are interparliamentary relations between the Senate and the House of Representatives. So if I can request that the transcript be forwarded to the Senate for the Senate to come up with their own response.
On the request of Deputy Majority Leader J.J. Suarez, I direct the COMSEC to submit the transcripts and give the request also for the video of this proceeding to the Senate President and to the Senate Office of Senate President and the committee concerned. So there being no other interpreter in today's session, I'll see everyone next week. A notice will be sent. Any motion? The favorite motion?
Motion to suspend, Mr. Chair.
Adjourn. Adjourn and resume.
Suspend. Yes, suspend.
Mr. Chair, I move that we suspend our hearing and convene on Tuesday.
There's a motion to suspend, duly seconded. Hearing is suspended. Proceed.
Chair. Sign lang ako. Isa lang.
Ang dami nito.
Okay na.
Bahala ka sa iba.
Okay na. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Takbo na. Sabi ko pa trabaho.